Hello and welcome to the video on supervised machine learning. In this video, I'll teach you the basics of supervised machine learning and how it works. So, supervised learning is a type of machine learning in which machines are trained using the labeled training data, and on the basis of that data, machines predict the output. So, the labeled data means some input is already tagged with the correct output. In supervised learning, the training data provided to the machines work as a supervisor that teaches the machine to predict the output correctly. That's why the name supervised learning comes. It applies the same concept as a student learns in the supervision of a teacher. Now, supervised learning is a process of providing input data as well as correct output data to the machine learning model. The aim of a supervised algorithm is to find a mapping function to map the input variable x with the output variable y. Some real world examples of the supervised machine learning can be risk assessment, image classification, fraud detection, spam, mail filtering, etc. and etc. So I'll make you understand in a better way with the help of this diagram. So this is the entire life cycle of a supervised machine learning project. So here is your machine learning model. Now we want to train this model with the help of some label data. Let's say we are having a data set that contains images of three different type of shapes. The first one is hexagon, the second is triangle, and the third is square. So what will we do? Let's say this data set has 100 entries. So we will use 70 entries and each of them will be labeled. So all the 70 entries, all the 70 rows that will be given to the input to the machine learning model for training will be labeled. So this will be known as hexagon, this is square, this is triangle. So this all 70 rows will be given to the model for training. Then once the model is trained on the training data, then what we'll do, the test data that was the remaining 30%, or in this case the remaining 30 rows of the data set, then we'll give those 30 rows to the model for prediction. Now these 30 rows will not have the labeled attached to the picture. So this in the test data only this picture will be given as the input to the model, and based on the patterns that the model has extracted from this training data, it will predict that this is the picture of a hexagon, this is a square, and this is a triangle. So if I want to explain you with the help of this picture, so here we are giving the label data for model training. These are the labels. Now once the model is trained, we want to predict the output on the test data. Now if you have a look on this data set very carefully, we don't have labeled data. This is just an image of a square and a triangle. We are not labeling them. So the model will correctly predict that it is square and it is triangle based on the patterns that it has derived from this training data. So this is how supervised machine learning works. Now again, supervised machine learning can be further classified into two subcategory of problems. So in supervised machine learning, mostly we'll be dealing with regression type of problems and classification type of problems. So the problems in which we want to predict a certain numerical value. Let's say we are having the IQ of a student, we are having the CGPA of the students, we are having the high school mark sheet of the student, and based on these numbers, we want to predict the next year CGPA of the student. So this, as we are trying to predict a particular number, that is a CGPA, so in such numerical case, we call it a regression problem. And the classification problem will be like, let's say you are having the IQ of the student, you are having the CGPA of the student, you are having the mark sheet of the student. Now you want to predict that whether the student will get a job in campus placement or not. So getting a job or not. So there are two categories that in which we want to classify the student. So this is how the classification problem works in supervised machine learning. So I hope you are very clear with supervised machine learning. This is the entire life cycle of the supervised machine learning, and these are the two different types of problems that we are going to deal in supervised machine learning. So let's move to the next video. Thank you.